All right, salvete. It's Magister Hodges, and today we are going to be talking about haruspicy and other forms of divination done by the Romans. This past week, you guys have been talking about your zodiac sign, and I'm going to be looking up this way because my presentation's on the other screen here. But you guys have been talking about zodiac signs and astrology and where your signs come from and the myths associated with them. I've gotten some funny responses on these, ranging from people who are very clearly into zodiac signs and are telling me about their rising sign and their moon sign and how that represents them and stuff. And I've also gotten responses that are, this is total BS. I can't believe you're teaching us pseudoscience. Both of those are totally valid. It was more of a segue into, we are going to talk this week about different forms of divination or methods of seeing the future that the Romans used ultimately to compare them to modern forms of what some would call pseudoscience, astrology, divination, things like that. But it's had a very big impact on our collective consciousness and how these things are represented in media and stuff. And also it helps us just get into the mind of what it was like to be a person in the ancient world. So in this presentation, I'm going to read it out loud in Latin. I may interject with some English to clarify some things. You're going to follow along with the online worksheet or paper worksheet, and you are going to identify for the English phrases I have on there, you are going to identify the Latin, and for the Latin phrases on there, you're going to identify the English phrases. And we're going to kind of use this as our the basis for our information about not just haruspexes, but also oracles, augurs, different types of priests in Rome. So without further ado, here we go. How about now? Okay, so haruspex. Quis fuit haruspex et quid fecit? So it's just the general question. Who was a haruspex and what did they do? Over here on the right side, you can see an ancient Etruscan figurine of a haruspex. This is held in the Vatican Museum. You can see that they were clad with a lot of different jewelry, ornamentation, and whatnot. So they were important people even back then, predating Rome. Haruspex fuit sacerdos qui haruspiciam fecit. Quid fuit haruspicia? Haruspicia est forma divinationes. Divinationes e divinare comes when it. Divinare means discere per homina quid velent Dei. So this means to divine. We know divine to mean like something belonging to the gods. The verb to divine means to try and tell the future, to learn something supernatural, or to learn through omens what the gods may want. Velent is a subjunctive form here. So divinatio, or divination, the act of divining something. Conari, to try, discere, voluntatem divum, or divum is just another form of deorum, meaning of the gods. Quattuor modi voluntatem deorum discere. So these are the different ways, modi, of figuring out, learning the will of the gods. Omina sunt mirabilia visa, in stellis in natura, in animalibus, intellecta sicut signa deorum. Auguria est aves spectare, aves, et volatum avium sicut signa deorum intelligere. Omina in volatu avium videre. So just as a hint here, intelligere means to understand, and this is talking about how each of these different types of divination are used to understand the future, or in this case, the will of the gods. Omina, omens, in volatu avium videre. Haruspicia, haruspex. Haruspicia est viscera, viscera animalium spectare, homina in visceribus victimarum sacrificii videre. And then lastly, you just have sortes, which is basically sorts. Some people say casting lots. It's basically like drawing straws or rolling dice or playing the lottery. It's where we get the word lottery. Just basically picking something at random. Okay. Haruspex. The word for haruspex, verbum compositum ex. It's made out of the word haru, coming from haruga, quod, which significat means victima sacrificii, and then spex comes from qui spectat. Itaque nomen mysteriosum non est, haruspex est, qui victimam sacrificii spectat. Unde veniunt, haruspicia antiquissima est, indicia ex secundo millennio, aberbe candita, or this just means from in our current, AD years in Mesopotamia. So in the second millennium of our current time in Mesopotamia, that is where haruspici comes from. Sacerdotes nominantor baru spectabant iacora ovium. So in Mesopotamia, a baru est haruspex. Yekor effigies, or forma yekor est. This is an ancient liver. This is a map that they would use. Oh, 1 second. Students are coming in here and yelling while I'm recording this. Oh.